So hi, here I have the pleasure today of talking with Stepanie Rivin. She is the winemaker here at French Blue Wines. Stepanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Craig. It's an absolute pleasure to be speaking with you.
Yes. So you're over there in France. You're an American. I like to say an American, not in Paris, but an American in Bordeaux. Maybe it's a new movie happening at
I
some
would like
point.
to think so.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a fantastic story. And we're going to talk a little bit about the story first, and then we'll get into some of the wines and we'll actually taste them, which is fantastic. But let's discuss your wine journey from the very beginning. I believe it's out in California, I realized, but now you're, making wine in Bordeaux, the famous region. So you can start
You're
from the beginning
exactly
and just give us a synopsis of how you got there.
absolutely. You got it spot on. I kind of got the wine bug a number of years ago when I was living in California and started my first sort of intern at a harvest in 2008. So it was in the Anderson Valley, working for a real small family-owned winery. And because it was so small, we got to wear a lot of hats. And one of the hats, I was hired to work in the tasting room, but as I would come in every day for my shift and I'd look at the cellar and all the goings on back there, I realized that's kind of where I was being drawn more and more to. And so I would show up for my tasting room shifts about 6 a.m. and a number of hours early, just so I could be a part of the harvest, whether it was washing hoses, scrubbing tanks, any of the small menial tasks they would let me do until I earned enough trust to sort of get more important jobs. And I was very lucky that I had a mentor there that really understood that teaching me the correct way to do things and the why I was doing things, not just how to do it, but why I was doing the things I was doing, would not only protect his grapes and harvest, but would also teach me along the way and help me along my path to become a winemaker.
Sure.
So
I
that
mean,
was
that's fantastic to learn about why. I mean, that's so important in any profession. You kind of need to know why you're doing it. And of course, a profession like wine, I'm sure that could raise a lot of interest. Yeah, please keep us going. What's next?
so that's as I got more and more confident and more knowledge, I slowly worked my way from a harvest intern into the winemaking team, and along the years became an assistant winemaker and then a head winemaker. And that was just sort of a dream realized. I couldn't believe the luck that I had, that I was actually getting to do what I wanted to do, my dream job. And kind of along the way, an opportunity was floated by me to make a French rosé. I had only been to France one time, very briefly, for about 7 days. And so I didn't know much about France, didn't know much about the winemaking there, but I knew that if I put all my effort towards it, I could pull it off. So I accepted the challenge, flew over to France, met with some colleagues here in Bordeaux, and really set my sights on making an American style rosé from grapes in Bordeaux. As we spoke about a little bit earlier, Bordeaux is just a massive wine region. Everybody knows about it. It carries a lot of weight, prestige. It's sort of the benchmark that a lot of wines in the world compare themselves to. And I wanted it. I wanted to be a part of it. And I knew they had Cabernet Franc grown here. I'd had a few Cabernet Franc rosés from the Loire region, just a little ways north of Bordeaux. And I thought to myself, why not? Let's see what we can do with this grape. And that was kind of the birth of French Blue back in the 2016 vintage.
Sure. And then you're over there. I love how you mentioned, like, I was only there briefly for a week. Like it's so you've become France already. There's a French running through you, because in America, a week is probably like a long trip to some folks. So that's amazing. Just to hear that, put a smile on my face. But so you're over there for French Blue, but how did the name come about?
And so it was after we kind of got the concept for the wine together. Obviously, the next thing is, how do we package and sell this?
Mhm.
And during my travels here, I was looking at a lot of the wine labels that were coming out of France, and I noticed a similarity. They all have a chateau on the label and a name that is fairly hard to pronounce for Americans, and a lot of other words on there that just didn't make sense. And I thought to myself, I said, we don't need all of that. Let's just cut that out. Let's make a wine for the American audience that they'll be able to, pick up a bottle and be like, I know what this is. I get it. And the name French Blue itself is just sort of a reflection of France itself. It's a color that has always had great significance to the country,
Mhm.
dating back to like 1000 AD, where the French monarchy adopted that as their color. After the monarchy was toppled, they kept that color as part of the French national flag. All of the sports teams are nicknamed the Blues.
Yeah,
There's
the
big,
blue.
beautiful blue skies, ocean.
Yeah.
It's just a color that means France.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, and it works because it's, it's not, it certainly does work for the thing. So tell us a little bit about the thing. So you started with the rosé, but I know I have 5 wines in front of me. They're not all rosés, I could tell you that. But how did we tell about the expansion, a little bit about the vineyards, where you are in Bordeaux and how it's grown since that first vintage in 2016?
Excellent question. So it was for a number of years just a lonely bottle of rosé seeking companionship. And as the first few years, I was flying back and forth between California and France, and that got to be a bit complicated being away from family. And so at one point, I just turned to my husband and was like, "What if we just did it? What if we just pack up and move the kids to France and just see what it's like, and really delve into this wine project over there?" And before I really even finished asking, he was saying, "Yes, yes, yes, let's do it." So in 2018, we packed up and moved here. And as I started working closer and closer with the grapes and the harvest season, and the growing season out in the vineyards, I would look over and see, well, there's not only these red wine grapes I'm using for the rosé, but we've also got some Sauvignon Blanc over in a corner here. And how
Mm.
much fun would that be to expand the line? I've always loved Sauvignon Blanc, and its birthplace is actually in Bordeaux. This is where it comes from, and sometimes it gets disguised under the name Bordeaux Blanc. And here in Bordeaux, they're the masters of blending grapes. So with your red wines, it's typically not a single variety, and same with the white wines. You don't really ever see 100% Sauvignon Blanc, where as that was another challenge I wanted to, take up. It's like, well, let's do it. Let's be able to put on that label so people know right away exactly what it is. Another way of sort of simplifying this wine for the American consumer. Say, let's just call it Sauvignon Blanc, bottle it up, and make it taste real good.
All right. Sure. Yeah, and of course, I mean, Sancerre has kind of stole the Sauvignon Blanc market in France. If you see it on the label, you know what it is. But this is great. So we'll get a taste of that one for sure. But then you moved into red too, right?
Exactly. Well,
Or you
that's
just,
what once my curiosity was piqued, but I had the rosé and the white wine, and well, it just didn't feel complete. So I set my sights afterwards on the red wines. Going back just a little bit, both the rosé and the Sauvignon Blanc come from the Entre du Mer, which is quite different from there's basically 3 main regions of Bordeaux. You have the Medoc, the right bank where Saint-Emilion is, and
Mhm.
then in between those is the Entre du Mer. And it's a much hillier region. You get a lot more clay and sand in the soils, and that's what really pumps up the aromatics in these lighter wines. Maybe not exactly what I look for a red wine, but certainly for white wines and rosé, you just get these beautiful floral aromatics, this really nice bright acidity. And So that's where I went to for searching for those two those two wines, where when I went to make the red wine, I looked across the river to the right bank where Merlot reigns supreme, makes some really beautiful velvety red wines. And that's where we source our grapes for the red wine.
Okay. So, so the sourcing grapes from some places, making it in others, all in Bordeaux and the different regions. But tell us a little bit more about the vineyards. Can we go visit them, or the wines itself? Have they won some awards? How has it progressed till present day?
Absolutely. So we have gotten quite a bit of love. I think that it was the Texas Rodeo has really given us a lot of love on the wines. Sunset Magazine has given some really nice awards. So it has been placed in front of critics before and gotten some gold medals, double gold, best in show type of stuff. And so we're just really proud of the.
Oh, that's great. I saw some of that on the website. And yeah, so tell us, like, where can we find these wines here in the States? Because I know it's marketed really to us Americans, right? What's available, and also how can we find out more? Like, give us a website link.
Absolutely. So we're at FrenchBlueWines.com, also on Instagram and Facebook. And the website has a really nice link at the bottom where if you type in your zip code, it'll give you all the area,
nice.
the stores very near you where you can find it. We are nationwide, so you can find it just about every state and big grocery stores, restaurants, as well as some corner shop wine stores.
Oh no, that's great. I love the zip code finder because I'm in Florida. It's a lot different than the wines I eat when I used to live in New York, and of course the West Coast. All the wines are not in every state. We still have state by state wines. I spend a lot of time in Pennsylvania. That's a challenge to find good wine, period, because of the way they run that state. But sorry, Pennsylvania. But I mean, those are the facts. Get my wine before I get there. But yeah, so I mean, this is we know where to find your stuff. It's a great evolution. Now that we have a bunch of wines, now we're ready to taste a few, right? We talk about some of these wines to taste.
Yeah, so we've got I like to taste them. I think they find a really nice the order that I like to taste them in happens to be the order that they were brought into existence. So I enjoy starting with the rosé, Sauv Blanc, then red, and then we'll taste two at the end that we haven't really got to talk about yet, the sparkling, the Cremant de Bordeaux, but we can talk about those a little bit more as we taste them.
Well, if you want, what makes them? We'll wait. Let's get a wine. I could go for a taste. I have someone here that's here
I'm a
too.
little parched.
So we're going to start with this. This is the rosé, the original.
Absolutely.
All right.
So,
should I have opened the red and let it breathe a little?
I'm not too fussy about that. You know, I know some people will just taste it right out the bottle. Some people have time to let it breathe, but it's made to just be enjoyed and not worry about too much.
I tasted it right out the bottle, but put a little aside too. So I've had a sip of that already, but I've cleaned my palate. This might be a big pour. I guess I'm thirsty.
It's a good way to be. Cheers. So again, this is sort of where it all started.
Sure.
The rosé, it is a direct to press method. Basically what that means is that, sorry, my computer is overheating. I just need to ask my husband to bring me some ice packs.
Ice packs for the computer? Wow, or the
wine. Probably both need it, but no, just for the computer. I'm sorry about that. All right. Back to the rosé. So it's a directed press method, and what that means is these grapes, when we pick them, they are meant to be turned into rosé. There's no other thought that goes into it.
Right.
The other method being Sauvignon, where winemakers will wait and harvest the red wine when the red wine's ready, and then bleed a portion of that off and ferment that into a rosé.
Right.
Those can make some really nice rosés, but what I'm going for is a much brighter, lighter style. It's got a nice touch of color in there, but the acidity is really nice and fresh. You get a lot of fruit flavors, a lot of floral aromas, and it just kind of becomes more of a sunshine wine, just pure sunshine in a glass. And
it's like a nice strawberry gold color, I think, even. But
absolutely.
But not so much strawberry. Like a lot of rosés will have such a strong strawberry, but I don't feel that. That's good. I mean, it's very light and delicate, like you mentioned, with a hint of floral. I mean, I could see this going down way fast, like on the board, like big glasses gone quick. But for sure.
Make sure you have a couple bottles chilled, because it tends to go fast. That's what I like about it. It does have some of those red fruit strawberry flavors, but it also has maybe a citrus essence to it too. So it's a little bit brighter than just a heavy red fruit. It's got that lighter side to it as well. Well, at least that's what I hope it gets.
I think that comes across. I mean, for sure. It's definitely not. Yeah, I can see the fruits a little bit, but a little citrus tone. It's really good. I mean, my other person here is tasting along, confers. She gives it a thumbs up as well.
2 thumbs up, I hope.
Yes. She took a photo, so she just had a camera on the other thumb. There it is, second thumb. Nice.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the rosé. I mean, what are we pairing this with something? Is it 100% one grape? I mean, it's not vintage, so is it across? How do you put it all together?
So each vintage it does, I leave myself free to blend vintage to vintage.
Sure.
Do tend to be as heavy as I can on Cab Franc.
Okay.
It is the very last grape to ripen of the season. It's got these really thick skins, and it tends to hold on to its acidity. So you can get some really nice maturation in the fruit, but maintaining a really high acidity. And so that's where it comes in as a really nice blending tool. Whereas the other portion of it typically is Merlot. It gets a little bit rounder flavors, kind of more of those strawberry flavors. And it gives it just a little bit more body. And in some years, I do actually also add in Cabernet Sauvignon. So it just depends on the vintage, but it's generally a blend of those 3 grapes.
Sure. Good to know.
And as far as food pairings, I mean, I like it on its own, of course.
Yeah, for sure. I don't even know if it needs something. Like, I feel like this is like the aperitif almost, right?
Exactly. You can definitely
to use a French word, because I have to, right? Yeah.
Well done, bravo. It can go really well with some cheeses. If you want to pair it with a plate, it actually goes incredibly well with barbecue chicken. I don't know what it is about that combination, but it's a little sweet tang into the barbecue sauce, and the nice kind of juicy chicken is wonderful. If you need a vegetarian option, you just slap some tofu on the grill instead, slathered in barbecue sauce, and both of those pair really well with this.
Sure. Barbecue chicken. Nice. All right.
Yes.
So we're going in order. So the next is the Sauvignon.
Let's do it.
Very curious about a Sauvignon Blanc, not from Sancerre in France.
So I mean, it's not apples to apples. It's the same grape, completely different soils. Sancerre is ethereal. It's beautiful, wonderful wine grown in really nice limestone soils. What we're looking at here is a grape more grown in sandy clay soils. And what you get from that, it's going to be a little bit lighter textured. For me, what we do to give it just a little bit of oomph is just put maybe 10% or less of it in oak barrels, just to give it a tiny bit of body. I don't want that to be the predominant flavor, but I
Right.
do enjoy the roundness it gives the wine. It keeps it from being a little too searing. You know, you still get the beautiful tropical, maybe kiwi, mango flavors, passion fruit, but you also get a little bit of vanilla in with that just to round it out.
It's funny when you mention I'm always like, you come up with them over time, but like when you mention them, like when you mentioned the little oak and vanilla, I felt it immediately in my first sip there.
I should have waited until after you tasted. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Because you feel a little bit of it, and I feel like it does give it a little more oomph and takes away a lot of well, it's not as I guess poignant right off the blast, which is good for me. So I feel like it's a little smoother wine. I feel like it's a little bit more like, I don't know, it's just delicate with that initial punch that sometimes those Sauvignon Blancs can give you, whether they're from Sancerre or New Zealand either, which is even a different punch, bigger, stronger, I think, punch in a different way. But yeah, so
Absolutely.
it's, yeah.
And that's what the oak, for me, what we're trying to impart with that isn't so much as the extreme vanilla, buttery flavors
No, and
that
it's not, there's not
can
much
do
of it at
is,
all.
no, it gives it a roundness. And so the
Right.
aging it in a barrel versus all stainless steel, which the vast majority of it
Mhm.
is, the oak barrel, it is slightly porous. So you get just this different texture, a different aging um capability with the wine than stainless steel. I mean, that is closed off, you know, nothing's happening in
Mhm.
there. Whereas the wine that happens to be aged in the barrel gets just a little bit more life, a little bit more depth to it. And so when you combine those two parts
Right.
together, you just get something that's a little more alive, a little
Sure.
more complex.
I have to ask, are we talking French oak or do you bring the American oak? Or is it a
With this
combination?
one, With
Yeah.
this one, it is French, but just a little tongue in cheek with my French counterparts here. I do use American oak on the red wine, just to be like,
Okay.
we can do American. We're gonna blend. We're building bridges here, so we're gonna use American oak.
Nice. I mean, it is a question. That's great. I'm glad I asked it because it popped in right in my mind. There,
I'm glad
fantastic.
you did. I think might have been a little too strong for of a flavor with the Sauv Blanc, but
Right.
when we get to the red wine, you'll see it's I couldn't help myself. I had to.
I like it. I like it. So we're pairing this with so this is 100%, right? Sauvignon Blanc.
Yep,
With
100%.
it's the 90-10 is in the stainless oak essence. Are we going to pair this with something special? Because the list you gave me, I have everything right here. I got
So
almost everything. I mean,
with this one, I tend to really enjoy, light cheeses, like young goat cheese goes really, really well with this.
yeah.
Seafood, of course. You can definitely get away with some shrimp or I kind of like to try and find as much as possible a wine that will pair with vegetables. Vegetables can be really, really
Right.
difficult to um, pair with. And so this one happens to be one of those wines you can pair with a salad or with
Yeah.
asparagus
I could.
pretty well with this, especially um, so I live in France, so a lot of my recipes wind up having a ratatouille with eggplant, zucchini, onion, tomatoes. It's just really, really nice with this wine.
No, I love with the ratatouille. Um, yeah, and I have done that. And actually, one time I decided to do a vegan pairing of my own when I was getting involved with wines too, because I think you can do stuff. You know, it depends on the sauces or the style. You know, and we made ratatouille. One of my favorite movies, actually, of from in the cartoon
Yes.
world. So classic to be a chef and all that stuff. And you know, I run a food tour as well down here in the Florida Keys, so I'm into food and wine a ton. So I really enjoyed that movie from France, the French style,
Oh,
the ratatouille, and the dishes.
it's
This is great.
adorable. But yeah, and it's the vegetables can be hard to pair with because they kind of have maybe an herbal flavor. I don't know if that's just too
No,
on the
yeah,
nose.
but I mean, a lot of times
Vegetable flavor, and to pair with wine, it can be difficult, but it's one of those things when you find something, a vegetable dish that pairs well with the wine, it's over. It's just
no,
so
I
good.
think that is good because I mean, you're right, because a lot of the words we use to describe wines could be vegetables or green or grass or celery or even fruits for that matter. So the vegans are really in there. They should just drink wine by themselves, not anything else for sure.
Nice.
They get all the vegetables and fruits in the wine.
Exactly. It's some people's favorite salad in itself. Fruit salad.
We have some. Yeah. All right, so here we are. We're on number 3.
Number 3. All right. So we've got our Bordeaux Rouge. Again, Bordeaux is known for blending, and red wine is no exception to that. It's probably the most classic example of how to blend red wine. They've been doing it here for hundreds of years.
You can see I poured it in a little bit of a decanter just to be special. I wasn't sure. I tasted it right away. I figured I could drink it out of the bottle or drink it this way. So I didn't ask.
One of my what I'm really hoping to do with French Blue wines is kind of tear down any hurdle between a consumer and their wine. I don't want it to be complicated. If you have a mug, drink your wine out of a mug. It does, like, those things, they do matter, but it shouldn't keep you from enjoying wine. And really what I'm trying to do here is make a wine that tastes great, is accessible, and inspires a sense of adventure. And as long as you've got all those ready, decanting it, absolutely. If you can, do it. If not, just drink it right out of the bottle, like you said.
I mean, you're speaking to my people where I live. I live down in the Florida Keys. So, I mean, our famous song is like tin cup chalice. So we're drinking, fill it up with good red wine. So we're not drinking out of the fanciest glasses all the time. And our biggest, most people go to like the supermarket because if you buy 4 bottles, you get 10% discount. So it's like people come out of there with a tremendous amount of wine. There is a total different side of it here, but there's a lot more wine purchased in the volume space than there is in the upper echelon, the chateaus we were talking about beforehand.
Exactly. And that's what, I almost call these the gateway wine. They're priced at a point where you can enjoy them. You don't have to invest too much money or time. That is, a lot of the Bordeaux wines, you got to cellar those things for a really long time before they're enjoyable, or at the point where they're meant to be enjoyed. And with this, I just wanted people to be able to pour a glass of wine, not have it be center stage necessarily. You've got friends, family around, you're eating a lovely meal, you're barbecuing out in your backyard, you want a little bit of wine. This is your go-to. It tastes good, and it's not, it doesn't have to be everyone sitting around silent, sniffing, slurping. Just enjoy the wine.
As I sniff my wine right now.
As we swirl.
On cue. We can't be in my backyard now. We're getting a Florida Keys thunderstorm. So
no.
It rains. This is our rain season. Yeah, it's not overbearing. It smells good. I've tasted this already. Let's see if it smoothed it out. And it wasn't in a decanter. I just poured a little bit. Yeah, what's nice is this. It's definitely smoother. It's not. I wasn't sharp to begin with. Like it wasn't like you're like, oh, I bought a cheap wine. No, not at all. It has a smooth, well balanced finish. I think it's elegant in the mouth, which is nice. It's a good red wine. It's got a good. I like I can see this for a meal all the time because it's got a good. I don't know, say viscosity is the word I'm looking for. Like this, the texture of the wine.
Absolutely. Viscosity, it's a good word. It's got the right balance of it. The Merlot has such a silky, lovely texture to it, but then you get a little Cabernet Franc, a little Cab Sauv mixed in there to give it a little spice and body. And again, a little bit of American oak and French oak, just a little bit.
I love it. I love it.
And the intent was just to have a really nice, well-balanced red wine that's got some fruit components, some woody components, a little bit of cedar in there, a little almost incense, and then just have it really shine with the perfume, kind of some cherry plum flavors, and just be a good wine to sit on the porch with some friends and talk about how your day was.
I mean, and it's good. It's almost like the rain's on cue, because this is more of I'm not out in the hot sun, which I've been lately. It's more of I don't want to say a chilly day, but chilly day for us, which is like 60s, you know.
Go get your sweatshirt, right?
Yeah. Which I guess, which will be, below 20, I guess, if we're talking Celsius. But yeah, it's good. So what am I pairing this with? And this is a Merlot Cab Franc you mentioned, or is it Cab Sauv 3? Is it 3 grapes or?
3 grapes. So mostly the majority Merlot, about 60% Merlot, 30% Cabernet Sauvignon, and 10% Cab Franc.
Okay.
And yeah, it's goes really well again with its meaty dishes, so it does tend to go well with beef, lamb. For vegetarian options, again, going to that grilled eggplant. I lean pretty heavily on my eggplant for my vegetarian pairings, but it can hold up to wine very well. Anything with a little bit of smoky flavor.
Like mushrooms, I could see like a portobello mushroom or something.
There you go. I forget about those. They don't have them here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been missing those so much, and I guess after I've been here for 6 years now, and they kind of have just been pushed to the back of my mind, but absolutely, I gotta write that down. Thank you, because I'll try it with some smaller mushrooms, but I do think that portobellos would be just absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Happy to help if I can. But I mean, I just think a lot of times I like to pair, like when I'm going, are you vegan or vegetarian? Or do we just, is there so many people in France that are like that, you have the marketplace for that, or?
Not so much. I mean, there's certainly some demographic here that is, it just seems like worldwide there tends to be so many different tastes out in the world that I don't want to feel like, even within my family, my mom loves lamb, my dad can't stand it. So if I tell him that this wine will go good with lamb, he'll retch, he'll just be like, no.
Sure.
So I try and offer a wide diversity of food pairings so that someone is able to connect with the wine, no matter what it is that they enjoy eating. But I enjoy all the foods.
As I'm chewing, me too. All right. Another, 3 for 3 so far. Not like I'm judging, because each wine is different. And no, but people like all wines, that's it. You got to find the wines you like. But so far, these 3 I would bring to parties. I would bring them out to folks. I would share them. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with the rest of these. Although maybe I might. We'll see if maybe I will sneak one, keep it in the fridge for later.
Exactly. Be like, I like you this much. The rest of it for me.
Yeah, save that one.
Exactly. Well, and that's, wines are, I was enjoying having, it's about 8 o'clock here in France. And after this, I get to go over to some neighbor's house for grilled pizza. And I was like, don't open any wine. I'll have plenty of wine for us. So
Right.
it is fun to be able to share things with friends. And
so now we're opening the sparkling.
Yeah, we'll start off with the Brut Cremant de Bordeaux.
All right, just showing you I have. Brut, Cremant de Bordeaux. I like that. De Bordeaux.
So, fun little fact about Cremant is that it is actually an appellation. So, in order to be able to use the word Cremant on a wine label, you have to be one of the 5 designated areas in France that can be Cremant. And really, all Cremant means is that
You
it's.
opened it so silently. I'm sure mine will tell on.
Oh, I cheated. I opened mine earlier.
Oh my God. I wanted to hear the pop. The pop's good for the podcast, right? Sorry,
We'll
I
have
didn't mean to
edit
interrupt
that
you.
in. Next, I'll just do it verbally next time. I'll do
All right, here.
so again,
Passing one on. Let me pour
once I
mine.
got into living here in Bordeaux, not being content with just having a rosé spread over to white wine and then red, and it's a nice trio, it's a complete set, but I like drinking sparkling wine. That's my go-to, that's my baby. And once I found out
yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, once I found out there's a sparkling wine appellation in Bordeaux, I lost my mind. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So we started down the path of making a Cremant de Bordeaux. The only rules are that traditional sparkling wine methods being used, hand harvested grapes. The grapes do have to be the Bordeaux varietals.
Okay.
And the second fermentation that creates the bubbles happens in the bottle. So it's not forced carbonation, it's a second fermentation within the bottle. And that's how you get a little bit smaller bubbles. They're more integrated with the wine. They're not the big sort of soda looking bubbles.
Yeah. They seem very, very light. I mean, when you pour it, of course, you get bubbles, but they are the small little bubble. Yep. It's nice. Classy, elegant.
Classy. That's what they've always reminded me of. Not that I have one, but if I did have one, this is the closest thing I've got. It's like a little bracelet of diamonds. Just ringing around the glass there.
Yeah. Although tiny diamonds. Some people probably want bigger ones, but not if you're going to drink it, I'm sure. Yes.
And so being that this is made from Bordeaux varietals, it is maybe surprisingly a majority of Merlot. So it's just the grapes are pressed and there's no contact allowed between the skin and the juice. So you just get the juice from within the grape, the inside of the grape. I'm not sure if or your listeners might know, but the inside of the grape is kind of a white neutral color. There's no color to it. All of this color that wine gets, whether it be rosé or red wine, comes from the extraction from the skin. So if you take red grape, squitch it real quick, bleed off the juice, it's going to look like a white grape juice. And so that's what we ferment. This is picked very early. We actually just started our 2024 harvest of sparkling wine this week. So it's started kicking off. Yep. We've got a number of weeks to go. We're looking into mid-September and beyond for the rosé, Sauvignon Blanc, and then maybe early October for the red wines. But
so you're in season. It's go time now. Yeah.
Wow. That's why I got my work shirt on today. But
nice flannel. I mean, they're not probably. Is there a lot of flannel shirts in France? I mean, do people wear that, or is that maybe in the countryside?
No, I gotta be as American as I can here.
I'm glad you're wearing.
Me coming from a mile away, or a kilometer. Sorry, a kilometer away.
I mean, they're getting to you too, which is nice. You could see your transformation there with the kilometer talk.
Well, that's what I was happy earlier when you said 60 degrees and changed it to Celsius. I was like, I don't remember what.
I'm not very good, but the one trick I do know is that Celsius is 82 Fahrenheit is 28 Celsius. So I usually just use that in my brain and then I'll adjust because most of the temperatures are close to that here in the Keys, especially. So I'm like, I could almost be close enough to people think that I know things. Yeah, when it comes to Celsius. But
Well, and that's
Fahrenheit clearly is the better scale because there's more numbers with temperature, which is better. Like from 20 to
more is
15 is
better.
like two different jackets, and that's just crazy. But I digress. And maybe this is the wine talking already, folks. But here we are. I just have a question though in the Cremant. So it's an appellation, but are the
Yeah.
grapes different? The grapes different from the traditional Champagne grapes then? They're not the same like
Absolutely.
Champagne. Yeah.
No, so within each of the 5 Cremant appellations, they're only allowed to use whatever their larger appellation is able to use. So for instance, there's a Cremant de Loire, so they can use Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet Franc, whatever else in Loire. There's Cremant de Alsace. They're more similar to Champagne with Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, but they can also use Gewürztraminer, Riesling, Pinot Gris, Pinot Blanc. There's Cremant de Bordeaux, Cremant de Limoux, and Cremant de Die, spelled D-I-E. Doesn't have a big presence in the USA because Cremant de Die doesn't really. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
that's
it's not a great word choice.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So
For us,
in order to be the Cremant specification on the appellation just means a traditional method, and then whatever grapes are associated with the appellation afterwards, be it Bordeaux, Limoux, Loire, Alsace, it has to adhere to the grapes that are used in that region.
Sure. Wow,
So
I learned I learned a ton today, but I always knew Cremant, in the Champagne, but I honestly thought it was all others were named that because I knew it was all over the map, but I didn't realize there's 5 regions and the grapes could be so varying. It's interesting. That's a homework assignment for me to understand more, to read up in my wine textbooks that I keep behind me here. Excellent.
I forgot the big one, Cremant de Bourgogne. That's the no-brainer. But yeah, it's all the other wines here in France that are sparkling, but not one of the Cremant designations are vin pétillant. And pétillant just means bubbly. So whether you're ordering water or wine, pétillant means sparkling. And the word Cremant means creamy, so it gets a little bit of the texture. That's just what it's speaking to, the bubbles kind of running over your palate and the fine creamy texture you get. But
I always felt like it was creamier than the Christmas, than the crisp nature of the apple Christmas that the Champagne region provides. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I'm just epiphanies are hitting me. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Well, in its most basic form, in a way, Champagne is a Cremant. As if they just maybe choose, they don't need that designation. But if you were to classify what a Cremant is, Champagne would be considered a Cremant. They just have no interest in being labeled as such. So yeah, it's made in the same way in that the bubbles happen in the bottle. It's not forced carbonation happening later on, or even carbonation, the second fermentation rather, happening in a large tank, which is a way a lot of wine producers will make sparkling wine here, but they can't call it Cremant. So it's just a little bit
and these
higher.
Have the fermentation in the bottle. Second fermentation is in the bottle.
Exactly.
Traditional method.
Yeah, and it takes at least 15 months after harvest. So, after the first fermentation, you get about 12 months of aging in the bottle itself, minimum by law. And then afterwards, we do a bottle after we release the dead yeast cells that have collected in there. We get those out of there, top it off with a little bit of wine, and the dosage. For us, we are Brut, so it's between 9 and 10 grams per liter. So that gets added at the end before the cork and the cage gets put on. And then another about 3 months of bottle conditioning before we'll even release it. So by the time that happens and we ship it to the USA, it's almost 2 years. So that's how you get like a really nice amount of time in the bottle getting those bubbles to kind of really integrate well with the wine, get a lot of texture in there, and just become something that's really fantastic to drink.
Sure, absolutely. Mm. All righty. So there is one more, right?
There is one, and it lets us come full circle, and that we started with the rosé and we're going to end with the rosé.
Nice. I like that full circle. I'm a big fan. Hang on, I have to get it out of my fridge, or also known as my wine fridge. In there? No. Oh, here. No. Oh, I took it out already.
Well done, sir.
So I guess with this coming full circle, you're done. Are you eyeing up any other like wines? We're just focusing on these. Or is there's always like another potential in the mix in the future?
Oh, absolutely. There's one little corner of Bordeaux left to be discovered for me. Well, at least one, I should say 1.5. And then there's the whole rest of France. So
okay.
Within Bordeaux, we've got the sort of Sauterne style sweet wines.
Oh, sure.
That I absolutely adore. It's sweet, it's sticky, it's maybe not a whole bottle type of thing, but a small glass of Sauterne at the end of a meal is decadent. And then beyond that, there's been a number of varietals that have been approved for planting in Bordeaux. They can't be labeled on their own. They have to be part of a blend, but there's a few things on the horizon. And then, like I said, outside of Bordeaux, there's just a sea of wine out there. So I'm not stopping anytime soon.
All right. Let me just get one more glass from my partner here.
Absolutely.
She did not finish yet. She's still behind. So I got to pour a fresh glass.
Well, I'm glad she's taking her time and enjoying each glass. You and I
we'll
we're
have
on
a few glasses
like a sprint.
No, I know. And I know it's late over there in France and dinner awaits and stuff. And yeah, so I know we are going through these quickly. It's kind of just a casual conversation.
Indeed.
Oh, okay.
I'm enjoying it. It's, I to be honest, rarely get to just sit and enjoy drinking a glass of the wines that I make. A lot of times it's just tasting in order to determine a blend and get things ready for bottling. And having moments like this where I can just sit with someone and taste and talk about the wines.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. I appreciate the time. Glad we made this work. I was all set up the first time, but now I'm even more set up and more excited, and have a few people over to help me finish these wines. Well, some of the wines, because I might, we talked about that. But the bubblies have to go. The bubblies will have to go today for the most part.
Well, and so I like sparkling wine. I love rosé sparkling wine. So this Cremant for me was just tops. I was so excited to be able to make it. I love pink wines. It makes every event even if it's just watching movies, having a glass of rosé sparkling wine just makes things a little more festive.
It makes everything more festive. I mean,
right?
life more festive.
It could be a Tuesday night, open a bottle of bubbly if you need if you're having a rough start to the week and you need just a little something to get you over the hump day, have a glass of sparkling.
This is certainly a good Tuesday wine. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
So with this
Oh,
one,
bubbly.
again, it's kind of surprising. It's 99% Merlot, 1% Malbec.
Really?
Mhm. Just had a nice little, just a little nod to Malbec in there, and gives it a little bit more fruity flavor than the Brut
Right.
white, which had a little more classic flavor with your brioche, toasty flavors, a little bit of maybe apple and pear. This tends to be way more on the strawberry berry side, at least for me.
Right.
Sorry. Everyone has their own taste, but for me, this just is a really fun wine to share with friends. And
No, there's more in this glass, like flavor wise, to ponder, like to think about. Like I would make this a smaller pour and keep it chilled because I would have more of it over time. Where the other glass, I probably would finish it faster for the next glass. Like, and I'm almost thinking about the next glass sometimes, I
the
guess. But
next,
no, but I think really there's more to this. There's more to unpack in the flavors than the other with the rosé. And I think rosé, the bubblies are becoming so popular. They're definitely more. I'm glad you make one because I think it's a good effort. I'm glad Malbec, from France made a comeback, 1%. That's nice too.
1% come back. Well, and that's the other, I enjoy it, so I do make it in a bit of a selfish manner. I do think it is, like you said, it's making a comeback. The price point's fantastic, and this, out of I think all of the wines, the two sparkling wines have a bit more diversity in their ability to make a damn good cocktail.
Oh, really? Sure.
Uh, I don't drink a lot of spirits. I do enjoy them, but not necessarily on their own. It's generally in a cocktail and a very small part. And sometimes I've been able to actually replace a spirit with wine, like in a martini, like, I'll do vermouth and sparkling wine, or vermouth and Sauvignon Blanc. Makes a really nice wine
It's
cocktail.
not gonna be shaken, not stirred. I'm guessing with that, yeah. No, it'll be
But
stirred, not shaken. We'll go the other way, yeah.
But with the sparkling, if you've ever heard of a French 75,
Yes.
yeah,
Actually, my mom is such a huge fan that when it's on the menu and we go out for dinner, like that's her. She loves it.
she's like, yep, that's my drink. Well, these make a really, really fine French 75, and you don't have to use champagne for it. You can
Right.
save the champagne for another event, but just a sparkling wine like this, it's excellent. And it's something I've come to enjoy quite a bit. Or, you can do Kir Royale with it, but
Right.
having
Sure.
sparkling wines as a base for a cocktail has been,
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun.
A lot of cocktails, a couple that I've come across here in the Keys, even or recently, if you go fancy, it's like they'll always put the little bit of sparkling on top. Like they usually say Prosecco, and that's because, well, everyone knows it, and it's not as expensive as champagne, probably, right? I mean, in the bar itself, but I mean, yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of the bubbly because you like a little bit of the bubble, and just a
Yeah.
little is great, yeah.
It gives
So
the
that's
drink
I could
a
see,
little lift.
yeah.
And, you don't want to water it down with soda water necessarily. Adding a little bit of sparkling wine,
Just
it's
keep a
all good.
little. Well, you could use a little more. Like it's less alcohol than a spirit, but it's still at least alcohol, right? We're still getting there faster, uh, wherever that destination is for us, for sure. Hang on. No, but this is a great finish. I appreciate the full circle. It's definitely a lot to unpack in these wines, and they're really good. And the price point, as you mentioned, on the other stuff, they are good for us, especially because it's French and Bordeaux. Usually, when people see that, they panic, or they know they're paying a lot just because of the name. So
Exactly. Well, and that's where you can feel safe knowing that you got one of your compatriots living over here watching out for you,
exactly,
making sure you've got some good wine at a great price and a package that you can understand.
yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, thank you so much for coming on the show, giving us an understanding of French Blue, making it across the pond over here, if they still call it the pond to France, I guess. but also developing wines over there and bringing them back to us over here. So we get to the pleasure of Bordeaux here in America at a good price and a great wine. So this is great to meet you, to talk to you, and I really appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you, Craig. The pleasure has absolutely been all mine, and I look forward to hearing back from you. Let me know how your friends thought of
Yes,
it, and if
absolutely.
you have any other food pairings. I love cooking. Please let me know. I'm always up for hearing new recipes. It
No,
would be
try. I mean, you got to get someone in the States. I mean, I'll look to send you some portobello mushrooms.
I know,
Can't,
right?
don't
Next time you
forget
come
them.
over here, we'll meet in San Sebastian. We'll do a little handoff.
Oh God, I love that town. I mean, there's so many French people too. It's like French is more spoken than English. I realize there's a lot of French people visit San Sebastian.
It's just a 3-hour drive from Bordeaux, and so
Right.
all the between Bordeaux and there, you get a whole lot of other French going over. It's just a really nice place to spend a weekend. The food, the people, it's a dream.
Yeah, it's a great place. You have a lot of places probably within 3 hours here that are a dream to us over here in the States, for sure. And definitely when I'm next time over there in Spain, I will head over. When I get to Bordeaux, I will reach out for sure. Because I'd
I
love
hope you
to
do.
connect as a fellow American. You'll help me navigate the place because I'll probably need it.
And it would be my pleasure. I miss having some of my fellow Americans here, so it would be a pleasure to show you around, and we'll have a good time, drink some good wine.
All right. I'll bring mushrooms. I'll stuff them in my suitcase, portobello style. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Greg.